Can Ian Garry really beat Shavkat Rakhmonov, and is Kai Asakura biting off more than he can chew? Before I make my predictions for UFC 310, if you're new here, make sure you subscribe as I have brand new videos every single week. So Fight Week is here and we're at the final pay-per-view of the year, so let's make my predictions for the main card. In the main event we have Pantoja defending the flyweight championship against UFC debut Kai Asakura. Yes, this is Asakura's first ever fight in the UFC, but he is a two-time rising champion, so he's no slouch. But does he really stand a chance against Pantoja? Kai is faster, younger, physically stronger, and has a big size advantage. Plus, he's an incredibly dynamic striker with amazing KOs on his record. But none of that really matters. He's never fought anyone on Pantoja's level, nor does he have the ground game needed to make this competitive. Plus, he's also used to having a large rope ring where he can move around a lot more than he would in an octagon, and I think he's going to get cut off a lot as he tries to move around. He's going to get backed up against the fence and then dragged down to the ground, where Pantoja will hold him over 5 rounds and get the decision win. And I wouldn't be that surprised if Pantoja manages to get a submission. Now, in the co-main event, we have Shavkat Rakhmonov versus Ian Garry. This was meant to be Shavkat versus Belal for the title, but Belal had to pull out due to a toe infection. What's interesting about this fight though is Shavkat has put a lot on the line here. He probably could have waited it out and fought Belal early next year, but instead he's risking his title shot against Ian. This is a very interesting matchup. Two undefeated prospects clashing in the octagon. Both have very similar rises in the UFC, fought similar opponents, and have both managed to hold on to their undefeated streaks. I hear a lot of people writing Ian Garry off, and the bookies have him as a huge underdog, and for good reason. Shavkat has 18 fights and 18 finishes. He's an absolute monster, and his grappling is unmatched. But I will say this, Ian Garry is the more rounded fighter. He's good everywhere. He's got great grappling, great jiu-jitsu, great striking, and I would say his striking is significantly better than Shavkat's. And usually when we get striker versus grappler, the grappler wins 9 times out of 10, but that isn't the case with this fight. Ian is not a striker, he's a well-rounded MMA fighter, and I think he might have the tools to get the job done. If Ian Garry can stuff those takedowns and take advantage of Shavkat's heavy lead leg with some well-timed leg kicks, I think he might be able to shock the world here and get the decision win. But in all honesty, I think both of these guys have a real question mark next to them. We won't really know how good they are until they fight the very top of the division, and neither has done that yet. Now we have one of the most pointless fights in existence, a rematch no one was asking for. Gane versus Alexandre Volkov. Normally this fight would mean a lot more. The winner would probably fight for the title next, but Jon Jones is holding on to the belt for dear life, and Tom Aspinall will not be defending the interim title again anytime soon. So it's hard to be invested in this fight, especially when they've only just fought a couple of years ago and Gane dominated every single round. I think it was 50-45, and I unfortunately don't see this fight playing out much differently. But Jones did show the rest of the division the template for beating Gane. He has 0 ground game, so maybe Volkov might be able to attempt something, but he's not particularly a submission specialist. I think he's only had 1 submission win since 2016, so I think I'm going to go Gane here by decision. His striking is just too high a quality, and I don't think Volkov really gives him any problems. Then we move on to the holy warrior himself, Bryce Mitchell, facing off against Gracie. Of course, Gracie comes from a long lineage of fantastic fighters. The Gracies are royalty in the mixed martial arts space, but with a competitive, well-rounded fighter, Kron just doesn't have a place within the UFC. He's lost, 2 out of his 3 bouts, and here he's performed so poorly. Bryce has had a couple of bad fights recently, getting KO'd by Josh Emmett in what's probably one of the scariest KOs I've seen in a long time, and he got choked out by Ilia Topuria, but Bryce has decent boxing and great grappling. I think he's going to have no problem against someone like Gracie. He's going to breeze his three-way decision, and I think he'll prefer to keep this on the feet. So he'll likely stuff down as many takedowns as possible and just pepper away and get the win. And of course, there are a lot more interesting fighters on this card as well. We've got Sterling, Anthony Smith, Dominic Reyes, and on the early prelims we've got people like Luque, Weidman, Chiesa, Chase Super, and Clay Guida. And as fun as all of these fights are, they don't mean much in the terms of rankings, no title contenders, and hardly any of them are even in the top 10. So as much as I'll enjoy this card, it's a difficult one to be really invested in. But thank you everyone for watching. That's been my predictions for UFC 310. If you can like, comment and subscribe, it really does help the channel out.